And we are underway. We actually, for once, did get a sword.
Wow, as I said, that's an incredibly rare opening. So this should be fun to watch. All right, so we see Hippo here, just slightly ahead of Hyphenated at the moment. Doesn't quite get the quick kill on the second blue guard here. But how about that? Sword and Shield, very early.
Is this game even randomized?
Well, we'll hope to see a little bit more craziness later on, but for now, they're going to have to fall back on their old vanilla strategies. So Hyphenated was able to get an 8 bomb drop on his way up. Hippo's going to have to do a little bit more farming if he wants to make sure he has a bomb before leaving escape.
Do you remember which type of guard dropped that bomb?
I'm afraid I did not catch it, but it was most likely a green guard. Hippo will be the first one to make it up and out of the dungeon area. But Hippo not bothering to farm any of these green guards here. He might do it with the ropes and the rats down in the sewers. And we'll have to see if he's able to get that bomb.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more enemies in the sewers, so you're going to have a lot more chances at getting that one bomb to drop. We see Hippo setting up a spin slash. Nothing so far. Could get a full magic refill though.
It's always nice to have. Unfortunately, it doesn't help him much in the moment. And the ropes don't give him what he's looking for, so he's going to have to do some rat farming here.
He's pretty much getting everything but a bomb right now.
All right, and we're about to see what is behind this wall here and see how potentially large this could end up looming over this race.
Well, unless a red shield is imperative, which I don't think it is, I think Hippo will be fine.
He'll definitely be fine for progression, but it will cost him a slight bit of time on the back end since he's almost assuredly going to be checking that spot once he finds gloves. So, Master Sword and Red Shield as we leave Sanctuary here.
This seed certainly wants the runners to have full sword and shield upgrades before getting to Dark World.
Yes, but no progression to speak of in that escape sequence. So we head over to Kakariko. We see slight minor divergence here. Hyphenated going to go up and check Lumberjack Ledge, while Hippo just heads straight for Lost Woods.
So there's the bombs. They were hidden in the tree pole.
And half magic at the mushroom spot. Lumberjack Ledge, just a full heart. So far, just a whole lot of valuable safety and attack items, but no progression so far. Still a lot of chests coming up in Kakariko, and that's going to really determine what our runners do next. And Hippo will be the first to head into Blind's Hut here. Full heart, big 20, another full heart, and tempered sword.
We also got a map check from Hyphenated. We got crystals at Eastern and Desert, and then a pendant at Hera.
That certainly is interesting. Nothing at the moment pointing us towards any of those dungeons, but tempered sword this early, I don't know if I trust it. Usually that's Seed's way of telling me I'm going to have a bad time.
Oh, we have the third shield upgrade in the well. So you can have Hyphenated will have Riot Shield at that point. We also got the hook shot in the Cane of Samaria, so that well's pretty loaded.
Very interesting. That hook shot is always nice to find early. And Red Cane could be pointing us somewhere potentially. Turtle Rock or Misery Mire. Of course, we still don't know what those dungeons are, so no point in worrying about them until we get Dark World access, but... See the shovel in Chicken Hut. That'll add a small little extra fetch quest step in our Kakariko journey here.
Just a piece of heart in the tavern.
So Hippo will head down. We'll get a look at the library and the race game. And And then almost certainly off to the South Shore area, we still have not found either of the, or any of the 3 items we need for Dark World access. Moon Pearl, Power Gloves, Hammer, or Mitts. Oh, and there's the cape at the race game.
I mean, that cape certainly would lead towards Aga, but having Tempered Sword at this point really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Hippo just going to completely ignore that cape. I think he's just gonna pretend it doesn't exist and hope it's not necessary.
Yep, but now what we'll see it is that shovel spot strike the earth, and it's a bow!
Well, that might change the equation here. With that early bow, we'll see if either runner decides to go straight to Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I would certainly be heading for Eastern Palace.
Well, Hippo hadn't done his map check yet, so he wasn't sure if it was Pendant or Crystal. Now he does, but he's kind of already committed to this South Shore play, which is, you know, it's pretty stock standard, what you'll see most runners do first after Kakariko.
We have Mushroom at the Dam. Wonder if that fetch quest will lead to anything.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with that. With that early cane, there's potential for a fake powder. We may see them go check it, do a save and quit, then go check it, and hard reset if it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah, fake powder certainly would be in play at this point.
Obviously, they need the hammer or the mirror in Dark World access before that is possible, but...
And that Tempered Sword certainly is going to make these mini troll arms breeze.
Yeah, no problems there for Hippo, and you get a 50 rupee drop, big 20. The lamp, another 50 rupees, and bomb. So the longer we go here, the more and more this is pointing towards Aga. Still quite a few checks left to make, though.
However, Eastern is now in logic, because you need the bow and the lamp. And now that they have both, you can certainly full clear Eastern Palace at this point.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good general rule. Most runners are going to do pretty much everything they can before even considering Aga. So, yeah, Eastern Palace is going to get cleared by both these runners almost assuredly, and they'll be checking all locations they can just to avoid having to deal with that wizard.
Alright, so next up we got Ice Rock Cave. Mirror!
Alright, well, Mirror on its own doesn't do much for us right this moment, but the second they get any access to Death Mountain, that's going to be their ticket up to the Tower of Hera. Of course, Hera is a pendant this seed, so it'd be a little lower on the priority, but...
The mirror will certainly help with routing once you get to the Dark World, but as we suspected, Hippo is heading for Eastern Palace.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 6 items total over here, plus his first crystal dungeon. So, yeah, this is the obvious play at this point.
Alright, we're going to see what 3 items we have in Sahasrala's closet. And a lot of nothing.
Interestingly, Hyphenated had grabbed his mirror and is heading out of Ice Rod Cave. Looks like we're going to be getting a fake flipper play here from him. That's not going to give him access to much. He can check Hobo, he can see what's on Lake Hylia Island, but that's pretty much it. He does not have enough for Zora right now, and Zora's not even a logic at this point.
And the thing is, without having the Moon Pearl, you can't do the water walk glitch, and so, to your point, like, that's why seeing the big 20 on Lake Hylia Island and seeing what the Hobo has is that it. But there's the Moon Pearl in Eastern Palace.
Yep, so there's one down. We are still looking for either 2 gloves or the hammer for our Dark World access. And Hyphenated only getting a heart container for his troubles, that fake flipper glitch there. And he should be joining Hippo pretty soon here in Eastern Palace.
Okay, so we're kind of still pointing towards Ag at this point, but I mean, if we get Power Glove, or the Flute, that'll get us access to Death Mountain.
Yeah, that'll get us access to Death Mountain, and with that mirror, both the runners can get up to Tower of Hera. Of course, and of course they do have the hook shot, so they can get over to East Death Mountain and grab all those chests there. But we're gonna have to see what we find. If they don't get anything that gets them access to Death Mountain or another location, they're really going to be low on options.
I mean, at this point, you basically just have the Mushroom and Aegina's Cave if there's nothing else here in Eastern Palace, which at that point, you're basically banking on those 2 items having the 2 things that can get you into the Dark World. Honestly, at that point, I'd probably just gamble Aga, because the chances that both of those far-off locations have the item we need, I would feel more likely that it's going to be Aga.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're in a seed like this, you definitely have to be running those sorts of risk assessments in your head. See what the big chest holds for Hippo. Just the map.
Okay, so we still need the crystal from Argus, but I think my count says that Argus does have an item. Yep, he does.
Yes, I believe there's one more item. Hippo going to go ahead and just head straight for the boss rather than checking the Dark Room chest. We'll see if this ends up paying off for him.
I thought the big key was in its vanilla location.
No, it was, but the vanilla big key chest behind the Dark Room, Hippo elected not to check it. He's banking on Armos having this last item.
Alright, well, here we go with the Armos Knights. And just a piece of heart and the first crystal of the game 19 minutes in.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see what Hippo decides to do here. And obviously he's going to exhaust all his options before making that journey up to Aghanim, but unless something crazy is on in Aghanis Cave or at the Mushroom, and looks like we're going to get Aghanis Cave first. Oh, excuse me. Completely forgot about this portal here. So it looks like Mushroom is going to be first.
Yeah, because at that point, if the mushroom doesn't have anything, I would certainly guess that Hippo might do a hard reset to then save it for the fake powder glide. And it's a heart container, but Hippo is going to go ahead and pick it up.
And he saves and quits, so not going to worry about fake powder at all. And he's had enough searching. He's decided that it's time.
Yeah, because even if this cave were to have I mean, if it had the power glove, that would give you access to Death Mountain, and then like at least 8 to 10 chances that the hammer's up there. But he's gonna go ahead and gamble that power glove's not at the Genus cave.
Yep, this is risky. There's no doubt about it. Also, and something that has to be weighing on his mind a little bit, he still hasn't checked back of escape, and obviously cannot since he doesn't have the power glove. One of the things that can happen to you if you're unable to get that bomb in escape, you know, if your glove upgrade is in there, then you have no choice but to take the long way back there through the sewers yet again. So I'm kind of surprised he hasn't didn't try to do that, but looks like he's just made the decision. This is an Agassi. Meanwhile, for Hyphenated, he's going to go to Agana's cave, and we're going to get a look. And we're going to find out if Hippo just made a huge mistake.
All right, Hippo's halfway up the tower.
And Aghanim cave, just a big 20, so Aghanim is absolutely required. And Hyphenated may elect to go turn in that mushroom first, but he will soon find that he's going to have to make this same journey Hippo's making.
Yep, it certainly seems so. Hippo read the seed, even with the fact that he didn't know what was in back of escape.
Well, Hyphenated looks like he's going to be fake flippering again here. And now with that Moon Pearl has a bit more open to him. Still doesn't have enough money for Zora, but what he's hoping for right here is something that will help him sequence break and avoid this Aghanim fight. And Waterfall Cave has a big heart container and 5 bomb upgrade.
There's our first blue ball.
Five-hour upgrade on Zora Ledge, and Hyphenated is going to come up empty here.
Yeah, this is certainly holding off Aga at this point is going to certainly dip into Hyphenated's time. Hippo's going to have a little bit of a lead on him, but we're still well into this race.
Yes, this race should open up, and this seed should open up a lot more once we get into the Dark World and get, you know, Hammer and our gloves. But Hyphenated, not even going to check the mushroom. At this point, pretty confident as well that this is an Agassi. So here Here we go.
And down goes Aga.
All right, so Hippo going to check the ledge here on the pyramid. Just a heart container, so interesting to see if he checks catfish first or heads straight for pod.
He can't check catfish, he doesn't have a power glove.
You're correct.
Pod really is the only play that Hippo has at this point.
So yeah, unless Hammer is here in pod, we are going to be forced to double dip this dungeon.
Alright, we got a map check and dark roll. We got pendants at Swamp House, which is green, Skullwoods, which is a blue pendant. I saw a red crystal at Thieves Town. I missed where the other one was.
I didn't catch that as well. I was busy looking for those pendant dungeons, but green pendant swamp. At this point, just really flippers and hammer away from that being a viable option, but we're first going to have to check out Palace of Darkness because it has some sort of progression for us in here.
It's pretty much the only place we have left we can check.
Yeah, between both runners, we have a pretty clear picture of what was available in the light world, and yeah, they've gotten all of it.
Thankfully, with the mirror, routing and pod is going to be a lot easier to do.
Absolutely, and they do have the bow, so they'll be able to get over to the right side over here in the front. Won't have to do any sort of potion glitches or anything. Of course, the front of pod is usually a pretty boring affair. It's required to have 4 keys to prevent any sort of soft locking from occurring.
Vanilla big key location.
Definitely an important pickup before you head to the back of Palace of Darkness.
Where does a swag net lie in your importance?
Well, it depends on how much you want to swag. Unfortunately, they already killed Aga 1, so the opportunities for swag have been decreased by 50%.
Yeah, that is the one downfall of having the swag net in an Aga seed after you kill Aga 1.
Finding that net, unfortunately, does mean these 2 chests will be keys, so nothing exciting to be had here, but we see Hippo correctly identifying no hammer, so we're going to have to mirror and head back to the entrance.
Yep, we got a whole bunch of keys in the front, and now we should be starting to get the items in the back portion of pod.
There almost assuredly has to be a glove back here. There certainly could be other items that would lead them to different places, but the likelihood of a glove being here is incredibly high.
Well, the hammer would get you access to at least Hype Cave. You actually could get into Swamp, because you only need the power glove for the portal, but since you have the Aga portal, the hammer would work.
They would need flippers and hyphenated. Oh, there is the hammer.
All right. Forgot about the flipper part of swamp, but still, you could do Hype Cave, you could do Stumpy, you could do the digging game. So that's why that hammer certainly will open up some option.
How about a butter sword?
30-minute butter sword. What is this seed?
Yeah, this has been something else. Hyphenated, I thought was making the same mistake I made at first, but no, he's just going to head over here and turn in his mushroom. So neither runner bothering with fake powder at all.
There's a Quake medallion in the back, which we really won't need that until potentially Mire or Turtle Rock.
Hippo must have been counting his items there because he mirrors away before grabbing that big chest. And absolutely right. He hasn't found either the compass or the map. So that means one of the two is in the big chest, the other is on Helmsor King.
And with that knowledge, Hippo is heading straight for Helmsar.
But so far, this seed's been pretty linear. Yeah, and after this, they still can't check Catfish, but yeah, they're gonna have to route down south, check Hype Cave, check K45 and Stumpy, and if they find flippers, hey, Swamp Palace is right there.
Alright, and Hyphenated is right on Hippo's tail into Pod. Hippo should be heading into Helmsar shortly. Man, there's a lot of H's on these names.
It's a little theme we got.
And actually, one thing I don't know if you mentioned this, Misha, but actually with that hammer, someone in chat was pointing out, that also would open up all of West Dark World, because you can use the hammer and then hook shot across to the west side.
Yeah, it certainly will, as soon as we have Gloves or the Flute. And Gloves can't be far away at this point. Not having Gloves blocks off so much of the world that it has to be somewhere nearby.
Interesting, the Hippo was starting back in the light world at Link's house. I guess he's thinking that's the better routing to get back to the Dark World rather than just going straight through the maze in Pod.
Yeah, not something I've necessarily timed myself, but I would not be surprised if it is a little bit faster.
But Hippo is going to go south, so I imagine we're going to see Hype Cave here shortly.
Yeah, really not many other options at this point, so we'll see if Hype Cave is actually hype for once.
I mean, with all the hype we've had in this race thus far, I think we've seen a lot of hype.
All right, well, let's see. First item is 300 rupees.
So Zora money.
Piece of heart boots. A big 20 and bombs. Well, the boots opens up one location that I can think of.
2, because with King's Tomb, you can go from the Dark World and then mirror there, so I think it's a solid meh.
We're going to get these South Dark World checks first. Stumpy, K45, and the Dig Game.
Stumpy just giving away his life savings.
Yeah, absolutely. So that pretty much gives them all the money they'll need for this seed going forward.
Hippo taking the opportunity to refill his health and not bothering with that 5-arrow upgrade.
Yeah, and if he doesn't find gloves here, he's going to have to most likely save and quit, head back over to the pyramid area, and use that hook shot to get across to North Dark World.
Well, let's see how many digs it's going to take to dig up the item of the digging game. We're already at 5. $15. All that work for a heart container.
Oh, he's not going to elect to do that. He's just going to save and quit. Or excuse me, he's going to mirror and get back to the light world here.
Probably going to do bonk rocks. Except he's not going to.
Yeah,
he forgot he didn't have the power glove to get to the portal.
And I can't really blame him. It's one of those things you expect to have gloves by this point. And like 99% of seeds you would have gloves by now. So this is a little bit of a strange situation. And yeah, he just kind of brain farted on it. Forgot he didn't have a way to get to the Dark World from Kakariko.
Just $5 in the bonk rocks.
I think we're going to get a quick lumberjack check from Hippo here, especially now that he has boots. Of course, we know just a heart container there. He's going to have to circle all the way back to the pyramid area and hookshot over to North Dark World. Hyphenated going to be finishing up his Helmsworth King fight here.
Alright, so Hyphen has Helmastar down. Hippo is going to be heading, I imagine, to North Dark World via the hookshot location.
Yep, he'll be able to do all the North Dark World spots. Of course, he elected to skip the cape, so if something's on Bumper Cave, he will have to circle back for it after grabbing the cape.
Yeah, the cape was at the race game, right?
Yes, it was the race game. Hippo decided to skip it. Of course, the cape was unnecessary for Aghanim by that point, and it only opens up one other location. Potentially 2 if he doesn't find Burna or doesn't have enough health for Spy Cave. All right. Interestingly, Hyphenated not even going to head over to Hike Cave, is instead going to go straight for this hookshot spot.
Well, so far from seeing the Big 20, the Flanktuary location locations have been bust, so we don't really air quotes need the boots right now for progression. I imagine he'll still head over to Hype Cave at some point and pick those up.
Yeah, I'm sure he will eventually, but yeah, for right now, he is going to be bootsless.
Alright, so chat's talking about if the mitts are always required. The Titan's mitts are always required, because even if you have a pendant, Ice Palace, Misery Mire, and Turtle Rock, which we don't in this case, they're all crystals, you still need the Titan's mitts to be able to get to Ganon's tower. So no matter what the seed has as a layout, you will have to get Titan's mitts in order to beat the game.
Yep, absolutely correct. Titan's mitts are 100% required in all seeds. And Hippo sees another 300 rupee drop on Bumper Cave. So I'm sure he's saying now, I'm almost certainly not going to be having to go back for that cape. And he will head into Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, we certainly have more than enough money that... Well, at least Hippo has more than enough money he's going to need to finish this game.
See what these last two chests have here in Village of Outcasts. But if we continue on, don't find these gloves, we're going to be in the interesting situation where Thieves Town's not completable.
Yes, it is. The only place the gloves are needed is for the square block. But the thing is that if you kill all the enemies, the door on the left side will open, so you'll be able to get through. You only need gloves are only for that square block.
Ah, okay. Hey, I learned something today. And I think this just goes to show that's how rare not having gloves by this point is. So I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, they will be able to full clear, but I mean, to your point, we've got the 4 locations in Thieves Town, we've got the 2 in Skullwoods. Like, some form of progression is going to have to be here soon, and at this point, realistically, it has to be a Power Glove or Flippers. Because either it's the Power Glove that opens up the world, or it's the Flippers that would open up Swamp Palette.
Yeah, Flute would also open things up a little bit. We'll get them to Death Mountain and all those checks over there. But yeah, we are getting to the point where it's down to this. Something's got to be here at Thieves Town.
I've did not find anything in Skullwood, so it's going to be Thieves Town. It's going to have something.
Yeah, this is
someone in chat pointing out. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there. Someone in chat pointing out we do still have Zora. Although, again, without a Power Glove or Flippers, Zora is technically still out of logic.
Right, yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was just going to say, this seed has been incredibly linear, so, you know, sometimes I think some people might think that's a little bit boring, but it definitely sort of lets the runners show their execution, lets that shine through.
Well, I mean, especially, you know, with these type of runners, like this is, think about where we are at this point. It was required Agaseed, you needed Hammer and Hook Shot to be able to get over to the Dark World. Like, you know, even just as we're talking, it's like you're realizing that there's things that you think you need, but you actually don't. And this is certainly a race that is going to be testing both of these runners as to what they can and can't do, when normally they would have a Power Glove at this point, but we still have not seen it.
Absolutely. These types of seeds are a real test on, yeah, not only your execution, but your game knowledge.
And again, as you saw there, that's why you don't need a power glove, because you can kill those enemies, and then that's how you open up and get around.
All right, just 3 item checks left here. And there's the
fire rod, so that opens up Skullwoods. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. Wow. So yeah, still no glove, but hey, that's one more location opened up.
All right, but we do know Blind will have an item.
And at this point, I just want to see how long you can go on without giving these runners gloves.
I mean, realistically, we're pretty much at the end. It's either, you know, now we have Skullwoods. Swamp Palace you can do without Power Glove, but after that, like, every other dungeon, you need a Power Glove at least to get in. Well, Flute, okay, Flute would be the only other way, because then that would get you to Death Mountain.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we're devising the nightmare scenario here, which, you know, he's hyphenated trying to pull up that block. Don't have boots, gloves, unfortunately. Yeah, it would be flippers in Skullwoods, which leads to Swamp Palace, which leads to Flute, which leads to Death Mountain.
Yeah, and then at that point, you have to have a glove for, well, no, you could have, well, no, you would need the book to Desert, and then, like, the gloves would be hidden in Desert Palace.
Well, and I mean, don't forget, they can also do Tower of Hair while they're up on Death Mountain, so.
How about, you know, I just realized, Skullwood, Swamp Palace, so flippers were here. If you got flippers and Flute, that would mean you could put a glove upgrade on the pedestal.
That would be... I would not know what to say if that ended up being the case. Which is a problem, because I have to do commentary, but... yeah, this seed is certainly going to be testing our runners going forward. Of course, we know some form of progression needs to be here in Skullwoods.
Yeah,
so...
there are 2 item locations here, and to your point, like, there's nothing else we can check without that.
All right, well, here we go. The back half of Skullwoods. Hippo's going to be checking this first chest before heading to Mothula.
Yeah, because even if you find an item on Mothula, we're still looking for both of them. And at this point, it's either the 2 here or the big key. Or the map. I forgot about the map.
So our item is on the boss. Fittingly, I would say. And this boss should be no problem. Half magic and the gold sword, so... Hyphenated going to head down to do this South Dark World stuff. He gets his Hype Cave check-in, he'll get those boots. which will lead him to both King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks, which fortunately isn't going to have progression for him. And eventually he'll have to get over here to Skullwoods and finish this off.
Alright, very clean muscular fight from Hippo for powder!
Oh my goodness.
Well, here comes Magic Pat!
I'm sorry, I just tried to think about how the routing would have changed if they had not gotten rid of that mushroom and fake powdered at some point, and my brain just blew up. Something has to be there. I mean, we've checked everything else.
Exactly. That's the only location left. Zora, by sequence breaks, Zora could have something, but the thing is, the logic doesn't do sequence breaks, at least since we're doing no glitches. So it's gonna be Magic Bat. Alright, Hippo's heading in there.
What's it gonna be? The glove or something more devious?
It is... There's a glove!
So that means glove was available to them via sequence break after finding the hammer and pod. Not a huge loss, but there it is. Wow. So gloves at 52 minutes.
And Hippo's now finally gonna go check back of escape and realize there was nothing there to begin with. I do have to say, granted, I commentated the race, so it's not really a personal best, but I have seen 59-minute gloves.
That is something else. Well, at this point, I think the next option should be Death Mountain.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. You have the most items there. Swamp Palace is a pendant. Desert you can't get into. I mean, realistically, the only two dungeons you have access to right now are the two pendant dungeons, and you've got the most items up in Death Mountain, so I agree with you.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Swamp Palace being a pendant dungeon here is that flippers are not strictly required. So they can fake flipper over to Ice Palace, should they so require. Depending if flippers are in a really, really nasty location, they can just forego them entirely. But that, of course, depends on there not being some sort of form of progression in Swamp Palace itself. So,
yeah, I would say while we're thinking about it, that we do need the ice rod, we do need the flippers. Speaking of,
speak it into existence.
We need flute and ice rod for go mode at this point.
Well, medallions notwithstanding, of course. Still don't know what those are for Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. But yeah, we're getting closer. Hippo's got a lot of checks here on Death Mountain, so we'll see what he finds. Of course, and mitts. Thank you, chat.
Alright, and Hippo electing to go up through Hera. I wonder if he's actually going to dip into Hera.
He might elect to check the first two locations.
But he is going to head in. Alright. Let's have a small key to start. The big key's not in the next chest, and we are going to have... You'd have to take a coffee break to continue into Hera, and you do. And Hippo is going to go ahead and take that coffee break.
It's an interesting choice. Oh, no. Nope, he decides against it.
Honestly, I can't blame him at this point. You've got the 7 items in Paradox Cave plus the 1 in Spiral Cave. You got more chances that you don't need to do Pendant Hera than otherwise.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's just feeling a bit scrambled from that long journey to find the gloves. But yeah, he heads down to the basement, immediately mirrors out, and is going to do these East Death Mountain checks. And if you're Hippo, you really have to be hoping you find something here, some form of progression, because what you don't want to do is, or have happen, is be in a situation where Swamp Palace is your only really good option.
Just love at the bottom of Paradox Cave. Alright, there's Bombos. And that's it. But to your point, Mishra, like, you gotta think with Hippo not having done Back of Escape for a long time, you gotta think in some ways he may feel like he's behind, but I mean, with how linear this seed has been, I don't have a problem saying Hippo's actually ahead because, I mean, you had to do things in a specific order for this particular seed.
Yeah, 100%. Right now, Hippo, I think, almost assuredly has the lead. But he can't know that Hyphenated took forever to go to Aghanim and was making some gambles, hoping it wasn't required. So yeah, I absolutely 100% agree. He may well be feeling behind here. But here we go, Swamp Palace. It's really the only major play for him after he skipped out on Hera.
And the thing is, there still are 2 items in Hera.
Yeah, but
at this point,
can't blame him for skipping out in that basement.
Yeah, you've got more items here. But I would certainly say if Swamp Palace doesn't have progression, you're going to have to head right back to Death Mountain.
Yeah, 6 items in the dungeon, and since it is a green pendant, a 7th item on Sahasrara. So this is the logical play at this point in time. So Hyphenated finally gets his glove, and he's going to be following in Hippo's footsteps here up to Death Mountain. And we'll see how Hippo elects to route this dungeon. Given how many items he still needs, I would expect to see him do left side, but do it first. But he could just opt to go straight back to boss and save left side potentially for after he's completed the rest of the dungeon.
Well, the thing is, we've had the small key and we've already seen the compass. So realistically, unless you have the luck that the map and the big key, well, okay, even if the map and the big key were on the left side, that would mean there's an item in the big chest. So more likely than not, there is going to be one of the 6 items on the left side.
Yeah, just given the nature of the seed, there's realistically no way, unless you got lucky enough to, have the dungeon items end up in left side to skip it.
Alright, but to kind of recap, I mean, we're basically looking for flute and ice rod for go mode. And Titan's mitts. Yeah. My bad. Maybe an ether medallion, but
it's easy to forget. But yeah, so here we go. Second left side chest is 5 bomb upgrade, so no progression there. Let's see what Hyphenated likes to do with Tower of Hera. If he just doesn't even bother going in, if he goes in and elects to skip it like Hippo did, or if he decides to just full clear it.
He's gonna do Spike Cave first. Or I'm Spike Cave, Spiral Cave, sorry.
Yeah, it also starts with an S and a P and an I. It's pretty close. But yeah, he'll check this first and then probably save and quit from here. Still nothing from Swamp Palace.
And Hyphenated is actually going to head back up. He may be heading for Hera, which at this point we haven't seen the big key, so that means either Argus is going to have the item, or he's going to have the big key and the item would be in the big chest.
Of course, there could be nothing here in Swamp Palace, and it could be on Sahasrara. Or King Zora might have our progression.
Or we could be looking at a Ped Seed.
That is 100% still on the table.
I mean, at this point, the only dungeons that are left are the 2 remaining pendant dungeons. Alright, moment of truth. What does Argus have? The big key.
Okay, so Hippo will be going back in for that final item. Hyphenated. This is more decisive than Hippo was down here. I think he's going to do it.
Yep, and then that means that the 2 items will be in the top portion of Hera, either on Trolldorm or in the 2 chests. Alright, moment of truth. Just a big 20, so Swamp Palace pending green pendant and pedestal is a bust.
So at this point, our options are Sahasrara, King Zora, or Tower of Hera to pedestal.
But we're gonna get the last 3 checks that we have at this point, because Hyphenate is gonna show us what's in Hera. I gotta think Hippo is gonna check Zora.
Yeah, he hasn't done any of this yet. He hasn't done Hobo or any of the Zora checks, so Silver's in Tower of Hera.
Certainly good to see, but not exactly the progression we want. Chad also pointing out Catfish is also in play.
That might be why Hippo is electing to hang on to his Dark World portal here. Some nice, efficient routing of these checks. All right, let's see if Moldorn's going to be our second pendant boss to hold progression.
Very quick fight from Troldorn with the Butter Sword. For 50 bucks. So we've essentially got Sahasrara, we've got Zora, and we've got Catfish. Alright. Let's see what Sahasrara has. There's the Titan's Mitts.
Wow. Okay, so Titan's Mitts from Sahasrara for beating Swamp Palace. Oh, and we're one check that we had forgotten about, Spike Cave.
Now, Hyphenated has the cape. Hippo left it at the race game. So this is the one thing that could determine the race if it takes Hippo forever to go back to Spike Cave. But it's just a red ring.
This can be incredible. This might be one of the most linear seeds I've ever seen.
Yeah, because realistically, all that Titan's Mitts opens up right now is Ice Palace. Turtle Rock. Okay, it does open up Turtle Rock if it's not Ether Medallion.
Yep, and still no sign of that Ice Rod, so you would be, of course, banking on Turtle Rock having it. Hyphenated going to be making that Swamp Palace play that we know he needs to. It's really his only option at this point.
Now, Flute and Ice Rod both still could be on the pedestal. And actually, Titan's Mitts would open up Jeremiah, would open up Peg Cave, it would open up the Lunchbox. So we do have a lot more options that we can check at this point.
Yeah, but getting these crystal dungeons out of the way as soon as possible is, I think, the correct call from Hippo.
I would certainly agree with that.
Okay, so Hippo electing to route the dungeon this way, skipping that normal freezer room that I think most people would head towards first. He's going to get his 3 item checks over here out of the way first. On Hyphenated's end, looks like he's going to be skipping over left side swamp to start with.
Unfortunately for him, there were 2 items on the left side, so I imagine he'll still be full clearing all of Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I would normally say, you know, maybe he feels behind, maybe he elects to just take a gamble there, but with the amount of checks he has remaining, which is not many, I don't think there's any way he can skip left side. Alright, Hippo still has not found anything here in Ice Palace. And as you mentioned, there doesn't necessarily have to be anything here in Ice Palace. Our next progression item could very well be in the blacksmith area. That was a very slick one cycle there from Hyphenated on Argus.
Very much so. Alright, B-Torp and Ice Palace.
That's our final item, so that is it. He'll be able to get his 4th crystal, but no progression here.
Yes. So we have Dark Death Mountain and we have the Smith Chain. I think I'd do Dark Death Mountain.
I would agree with you. Not only because there's plenty of checks over there, especially on Hippo's end, he still hasn't done Spike Cave, so add that to the list, but you also get information on Turtle Rock, and you will know for sure whether or not you have access to it, or you're going to need to find that Ether Medallion.
And Buttersword making quick work of Cold Stare. Alright, so where does Hippo go next? He's gonna save and quit in the light world. I imagine this is probably gonna be for Death Mountain. Or Sanctuary, that works too.
Nope. Looks like Hippo is going to elect to do those MITS blocked locations in the Dark World. These checks shouldn't take too long, so...
Now, it's going to be interesting on Hyphenated's side. He's going to have all 3 pennants at this point. Do you think he does a blind pull on the pedestal?
If he feels enough behind and, you know, he's full cleared all 3 pendant dungeons, he might elect to do that before Sahasrara. I wouldn't be shocked to see it, but we know that he definitely needs to get to Sahasrara at, you know, regardless.
Alright, well, Hippo has Jeremiah. Gonna do a hammer dash to get a quick check and peg K.
Hyphenated. Taking a quick moment here to reassess his situation. And is going to reroute back up north.
Love from the Smiths. Yeah, he's gonna go get. He's about to get his Titan. Smith.
All right, well, we'll see what Purple Chest has for Hippo. That's going to be his last check before I think he almost certainly has to go Dark Death Mountain.
And just a little bit of love from the lunchbox.
Yeah, at this point in the race, Hyphenated's best hope of getting back into this thing is having something silly be on the pedestal, like Ice Rod. I imagine at some point, whenever he goes back to do that Smith chain, he will route in that pedestal pole.
We're finally an hour and 17 minutes in. We're finally going to see Catfish and then probably a mirror to check Zora. Yep, he's pulling the mirror out. He's going to use Catfish and then immediately mirror to go to Zora. Catfish just having a green rupee.
Hyphenate says, thanks a lot, but no thanks. And I'm going to go give away all my money to a giant fish king.
Alright, Bombosa and Turtle Rock, so we can get into Turtle Rock at this point. We can do everything but Trinex. Zora's just having a life lesson. 1% return on investment.
Hyphenated making some bad business deals. And meanwhile, Hippo going to do his Hookshot Cave checks, as well as Super Bunny Cave. And then I have to imagine we'll be making the Turtle Rock play.
Yeah, at that point, yeah, I would do Turtle Rock and just gamble that the Ice Rod's in there.
He really doesn't have much option besides that. He's already skipped out on Hera, so he's kind of committed to it not being on pedestal. So I think absolutely you make the gamble that Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock. It would be far from the first time that has happened.
All right, nothing in Hookshot Cave. And he is going to make that dip into Turtle Rock.
Buckle up, folks, because this is going to go a long way towards deciding this race.
Yeah, it's pretty much... At this point, if Hyphenated has any chance in this race, there's something on that pedestal.
And also, fair to point out, by the way, both runners are still on green mail. So the seed wallet has been generous with sword upgrades and shield upgrades. No armor.
That is certainly true, although they do have... Well, Hippo has 15 hearts, so it's certainly got the hearts to handle it, but, you know, definitely we should give Hippo and Hyphenated both follows on Twitch. They've been putting on quite a show for us tonight.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic race to watch so far. And see what this chest has. The ice rod is in Turtle Rock.
Oh, okay. We are just a flute away from go mode.
So this is not the complete end of the world for Hyphenated. Flute could be on pedestal, but that is definitely a huge blow, because that means Hippo's not going to have to come back to Turtle Rock at all.
Nope. And it also means that also opens up Fat Fairy, because this is the other 5/6 crystal. Chad also pointing out, even if there isn't progression here, Hippo is pretty much set up to go right back to Hera once Turtle Rock is done if he needs to.
Yeah, he certainly will.
I mean, this has been such a linear seed. It was required Aga seed. You had to go to then to pod to get the hammer, and then having the hook shot already. Then that's how you get to West Death Mountain to go get Power Glove via powder from Mothula, which only then opens up Swamp Palace, which then gets you Titan's Mitts. It's just been fascinating to see how linear this seed has continued to be.
Yeah, you know, I don't normally invoke the Plando word, and it's honestly kind of felt like one. I am going to be curious to see what Hyphenated opts to do next. You'll finish up Ice Palace here. I still got to do the Smith stuff. I guess he will probably do a pedestal pull right before he does those checks.
You would have to think.
All right, here comes Laser Bridge. One of these two chests is going to have a small key.
There it is. Yeah, and just a big 20 there. So Trinex has the last item.
All right, Hyphenated, heading to the Lost Woods.
So as we see Hippo take on Trinex, we're gonna see if that flute is on the pedestal, because that's all it's really left that can lead to it.
The only thing that could maybe potentially get Hyphenated back in this race.
Here we go, moment of truth. Here's the pull. Just a little bit of love.
Oh man, and that's just, it's got to be a little bit deflating. Trinex also just a piece of heart though, so the search for the flute continues. I think Pyramid Fairy is the next obvious choice here for Hippo.
I mean, it's the only choice. I mean, well, okay, I take that back. He hasn't done Catfish and Zora. In terms of what we know, it has to be Pyramid Fairy. He also has Hera he can do, which isn't going to lead to anything. Catfish and Zora would also be there, which isn't going to lead to anything. It's really just a matter of either the book is on Fat Fairy or the flute.
Yeah, something has to be there, either the flute or something leading to it. And options are very slim at this point as to what it could be. Yeah, I think you're right. It's either just book or flute at this point. The thing about those Catfish and Zora checks is that Hippo can route them in easily after doing Pyramid Fairy. So very nicely done there on that little trick. If you transition to the next screen right as the bomb is about to explode, it will reappear next to you on the next screen.
All right, moment of truth. Two items are 20 bucks and the flute. 1 hour. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
1 hour, 28 minutes, 29 seconds. Hippo officially is in go mode.
And what a journey it's been to get to this point.
Such a linear seed. Pretty much every progression has led to opening up one dungeon, and that one dungeon leading to the next progression. It has been quite a sight to unfold. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you join us because it is time once again for the playing of the National Swag Duck Anthem. And just like that, the goose is loose.
Yeah, chat pointing out, of course, not technically go mode since we don't know what the Mr. Meyer entrance is going to be, but given that we've checked pretty much everything else between both runners, if it is Ether is in this area.
Yep.
And it's Quake.
But it's Quake, so we don't need to worry about it. At this point, Hippo has everything he needs. He's got Butter Sword, well, Silver More arrows would help, but Silverless Buttersword Ganon certainly will not hinder him.
No, if you were on Master Sword, that might be potentially something interesting to keep in mind, but with Gold Sword, that Silverless fight becomes much more manageable. And especially for a runner of Hippo's caliber, I would not expect too many difficulties there. Hyphenated accidentally missing a chest here in Hookshot Cave. The nerves might be starting to come into play a little bit.
You have to think after gambling the pedestal and it being nothing. I got a Bloomerang, so no Godmire today.
So we'll be heading over to the left side of Mire here, getting that switch flipped. All the Hippo needs to do is track down that big key, and he can head straight to Vitreous.
Yeah, so for those that may be just joining us, let's recap everything what this linearity has been. It's a required Agaseed. You could do Eastern Palace. Hammer was in Pod, which then led us to West Dark World because we had early Hookshot. That then led to Mothula having Powder, which led to Power Glove at Magic Bat.
Oh, don't forget!
There you go to
Don't forget Fire Rod in Thieves Town to even get to Mothula first.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So you have that linearity. Then Power Glove gets you to Death Mountain, where the old man has the flippers, to then get you into Swamp Palace, to get the green pendant from Sahasrara, to get the Titan's Mitts. That then gets you to Turtle Rock, where the Ice Rod was, and then leading to Fab Fairy for the flute. Like, this has been the linearest seed that ever has been linear.
Yeah, I think I said it earlier, and that was before even more linearity happened. That is definitely one of the most linear seeds I've ever seen. And yeah, ultimately, I think what it's come down to is that Hippo has executed just slightly better and has routed just slightly better.
I mean, it really just came down to that fake flipper. Like, Hyphen fake flippered, trying to make absolutely sure if there was a way he could not do Aga. And that's essentially what this race is going to come down to because of how linear it's been. There really hasn't been a place for Hyphen to really get back in the race because there hasn't been much divergence that's been possible to kind of change the lead.
So Hippo exhausting all his options in Misery Mire before heading to the cutscene room and getting his big key. And he's going to go head to Vitreous. And that'll be his final crystal.
So that has to be like the worst Mire, where the big key is in his vanilla location.
Yeah, whatever the opposite of God Mire is, that's what this is.
Especially when you're already in go mode. X1372 in chat thinks we should call that the dog mire. I'm good with that.
Absolutely. that's perfect. No silvers for Hippo in this Vitreous fight, but yeah, he's got Gold Sword. This shouldn't be too much of a problem.
No, not at all. Although, with only being on green mail and no cape, he's gonna have to be careful.
And his reward? A mail upgrade. All right, well, we are not on the speed gaming channels, but we have a game we like to play anyways.
Well, we still have Desert. You're kind of jumping the gun a little.
I am. I completely forgot about Desert. It's just been, this season's been so crazy. My brain, I can't even imagine how these runners are feeling. My brain feels fried trying to follow this. Completely forgot this dungeon even existed given what we've gone through to this point. There's that quick big key there for Hippo, and he can go straight back to Lambo. Hippo forgetting that he had an extra key there could have skipped it, but yeah, small thing.
And just like that, Hippo has everything taken care of. So, Jay Meisher, I think now is the right time to tell them what we like to do here.
Now is the time. We have what game we like to play. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the big key could be. Go ahead and get your guesses in chat. Let us know where you think that big key will end up. We don't have a leaderboard or anything fancy, no fancy bot here, but we still play the game and have fun. Just Reffy, what's your guess?
I'm gonna say number 12.
You +1 my answer. I generally go with number 11. By normal routing, both of those locations would be in Rando Room, I believe.
We'll see if that's the routing the Hippo decides to take.
And Hyphenated, after finishing off his Trinex, will be grabbing his flute at Pyramid Fair here shortly. But yeah, unfortunately, 2 dungeons down at this point. It would take a catastrophe of major proportions for him to have a shot.
But you would hope at this point, with the quality of runners we have, that you're not going to have a collapse of epic proportions. But, well, who knows? Hippo is in. Number 1, 20 bucks. Number 2, map.
Nope, no choice but to go left side, even if you want it to go right.
Three, just a piece of heart. Four, literacy. 5, small key. 6, 10 arrows. 7, another small key.
And judging by the fact that he's killing these Staffos, looks like we're going to get a full left side check here. That is number 8.
Chestnut, number 9, coming up in the fire snake room. Another small key.
All right.
All right, well,
comes Random Room.
Here comes Random Room with our guesses, 10 through 13. All right, 10 arrows, 10, 11, triple bombs, 12, Cane of Brian, 13, ether.
Just filling out that tracker at this point. All right, so we have Bob's chest before Ice Armos.
$14.50. At 15, piece of heart. 16, 20 bucks. 17, piece of heart. So, in some ways the linearity continues, but you could have done Dark Magician, because we know that big key's on the left side of this, or the right side, sorry.
You could have, but you're not thinking evil enough.
Well, if I'm thinking evil enough, Hippo just walked past the big key in the tower.
We'll find out here in just a moment.
Yep, 19. 10 bombs. 20. Piece of heart. Or 18, 19, 20 piece of heart. 21. It was 22!
Could it be anything else? Could it be anything else after the seed we've just had?
No. No, I don't think so.
Well, congrats to Shoxy8 for being evil enough to have guest number 22. And Hippo doesn't have that cape, so gonna have to dodge these tiles the normal way.
And officially number 22, there's the big key. This has been a very unique seed. That's really the only way you can say it.
I seem to recall saying something a lifetime ago along the lines of, I don't trust seeds that give you great good swords that early.
Well, you certainly were right.
Yeah, this is why.
Alright. Hyphen has Vitreous down, just has to do Desert, and then he'll be on his way up. But it'll be a long shot as Hippo's already entering the gauntlet.
Yeah, even a really crazy tile room gamble wouldn't be enough to make up this much ground, unfortunately. Pretty nice gauntlet there from Hippo as he heads to land mode 2. Hyphenated electing to run out of Desert Palace rather than mirroring. Not sure why. Very nicely done on the second Wizard room by Hippo. And we head to the Lantern room. Ooh, I got a little nervous on Hippo's side there. There is a way to soft lock yourself coming out of that room. That's if you go up those stairs right as the lanterns are going out in the previous room.
Yep, but Hippo had no problem. He's still searching for silver arrows. We know he isn't going to find it.
Hyphenated gets his Landmo fight down, and he will be heading into GT right this moment. We'll probably be getting in there right around the time Hippo's heading off to Ganon.
Now here we go into Aga 2. Just one to start.
Ooh, a 0. These patterns thus far have not been very nice.
But gets a good double there.
I think that was just a double.
Yeah, if it was a triple, that would have been it.
Yeah, the two hit at exactly the same moment, so Agon took damage the first time. But gets it on the next cycle, and we'll be heading off to fight the big blue pig.
Alright. This is going to be silverless for Hippo, but that butter sword will certainly make it be the fastest silverless fight there is.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly rather be in the situation Hippo's in than be on something like Master Sword with silvers, so...
And very clean execution, avoiding all the fire back.
One more hit on phase 3 here. Gets it, and we're on phase 4.
And the one dungeon that Hippo noped out of is the one dungeon where the silver arrows were.
Nice setup for a triple here on this cycle.
Very nicely done. Just missed there. So he's halfway home.
Yeah, this has been very clean execution of this silverless cannon.
Very, very textbook. And there it is.
All right, and Hippo walks through. He will finish with an official SRTV time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 27 seconds. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
Well, that was certainly a very linear seed, and one mistake kind of made the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most linear seeds we've ever seen here. And yeah, it certainly came down to just slightly better routing and better execution from Hippo in this one. So GG's to him.
And the silver arrows making ice thermos much easier for Hyphen. But unfortunately, it's going to be for in vain. And we have Hippo joining us in chat. GG.
Thank you very much. Whoever gen that seed is fired.
Yeah. So let's talk through it a little bit. It's be kind of a post-race therapy session. I have to say that might be one of the most linear seeds I've ever seen anywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
So I guess let's start at the beginning. Early Aghanim access at the very least. I think you might have left one or two locations on the table potentially. I'm trying to remember now.
Christagina.
Ah, yes. Was that just kind of a risk assessment thing where you knew you still need 2 items for Dark World, but 2 are missing, or only one location was left?
Pretty much. That and finding the cape and then leaving it in the race game. Having all of the swords and the lantern, the pearl. I said, this is Aga all over it. So let's just go. Plus, I got the bow. I'll come out and go into pod. I feel like this is exactly what the seed's expecting me to do.
How much were you sweating that you didn't find a bomb in back of escape, and were wondering if any of the items were there?
That was my big heartache over this whole thing. It was actually even harder to deal with that than it was not going to Hera. Like wondering what I had left in there. And then I thought, well, when I go to Aga, I'll go pick that up on the way, and then mirror, and then just got right into, oh, I'm going to Aga. And so muscle memory took over, and before I remembered that I was supposed to go back and check, which like never happens, I was like halfway up the tower, said, well, it's too late now.
Yeah, we knew because there was an 8-bomb drop that Hyphen had picked up, so we knew from the start there wasn't anything in there.
Well, it gave me a heart attack for about 50 minutes until my first glove, and then I finally was able to go see that it was nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I did notice how quickly you saved and quit and went straight there after getting that glove. And speaking of that glove, when you saw the powder off of Mothula, did you think all about fake powdering? Because that was something we had thought about early on, given where you found the mushroom and the cane.
I don't tend to do that very often, and actually it cost me in my race in the fall tournament against Amazing Ampharos. I just don't tend to do fake powder unless it's really convenient. Not having any movement, speed at that time, I'm not going to make a trip all the way back over to there to go check that.
Certainly understandable, and I'm honestly not sure how much it would have even saved you in this race, just given how linear it was after that even.
I think it would have saved us a moth. That was about it, because we still didn't have hammer, and the other glove was locked behind green pendant, so we still would have had to do Aga. We still would have had to head to pod, and we still would have had to go. I guess once we got the hammer and pod, it would have opened up a little more, and I wouldn't have done that derp where I mirrored and tried to go back to Thieves Town, realizing, oh, I don't have a glove yet. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you kind of took a little bit of what we didn't realize was going to be a little bit of a lead on Hyphen, because Hyphen basically fake flippered twice, trying to gamble that Zora, like one of those flipper lock locations, had progression, and that just because of how linear the seed was, there just wasn't really a point for him to kind of a point of divergence for him to kind of find a way to get back in.
Yeah, I was kind of worried that the flute was over there. I was making the plays in the order, hoping that all my items had led me to having everything in a row, knowing that I would have to make a backtrack pretty much right after Fat Fairy if that wasn't the flute, and then I would have been unhappy, to put it mildly.
So you get the first win in your best of 3 match. So how are you feeling heading into match 2 tomorrow?
I just hope the seed's not like this. Obviously, winning and getting off to a good start is good, but still got one more to win and 2 shots at it. So I'll finish this up and make my way. The goal here is if I can make it to round 3, then I'm due for a clash with Ben, and that's pretty much all I could have asked for in this whole tournament. So.
Well, GG's and props to you for putting up for quite the effort for such a linear seed.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Hyphenated finishing off Moldorm 2, be heading up to Aga 2 fight, and then to Ganon.
$174 items, by the way. Just that's another Ben call out.
Very interesting though, because you guys had to do so much, and there's still essentially 30 plus locations that weren't checked, or probably most of those are probably overworld locations that you checked but didn't have to pick up. All right, well, Hyphen gets a good double there. And that's it for him, and he'll be heading into Ganon here shortly.
Yeah, this will be a slightly easier fight for him with those silver arrows.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only other thing Hyphen did was Hyphen did all of Hera, and then went and pulled the pedestal and found there was just a piece of heart there.
Hyphenated going to get through these first 2 phases pretty quickly with that gold sword.
All right, for him, it'll just be 4 arrows to Ganon's face, and that'll be done for him.
It does get the torch glitch with the fire rod there.
Yep. Ooh, he could have had a nice triple setup there, but was just a little too low.
Gets the double,
Does
and
get
just
a
one more
double.
arrow.
And that's it. All right, walks through the door, and that's an official SRTV time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 32 seconds for Hyphenated. GG's to him.
Absolutely. We'll see if he's interested in joining us for an interview here. In fact, I see him in the waiting room, and he's here with us. Hyphenated, GG, sir.
Hello, good game.
How you feeling after that race?
Exhausted.
That was quite the linear seed.
Yeah. I felt hugely behind ever since there was progression on the bat, and I had already turned in the mushroom. And, yeah.
Well, honestly wasn't the thing that cost you. Both you and Hippo actually both turned the mushroom in without doing big powder. Unfortunately, what cost you was the early game fake flippering, which put you kind of behind the 8 ball as Hippo got into Aga Tower before you did. I guess just kind of walk me through your mindset at that point. You know, obviously you already had AGA access by that point. Were you just kind of hoping to hit the jackpot and avoid it?
Yeah, it would have taken 2 items, so it was kind of not realistic, but I figured I would probably do those locations later anyway, so I might as well do it now. That probably didn't cost me 10 minutes, though, which is what I lost by.
Well, there was some other stuff down the road, but that put you behind the 8 ball at the start. And given how linear the seed was, there just really was unfortunately not enough opportunities for divergence for you to catch up.
There was like once I had mitts, I could have gone to the town or up to the mountain. I decided to do the town first to make sure I would be able to get into Turtle Rock. That was also kind of a gamble, hoping that, like, I figured it would be more likely my opponent would go up to the mountain first. So if the progression was required to go to the other place first, I could like maybe gain that way.
Yeah, I mean, basically the 2 points of divergence were either Hera and Swamp Palace. You did Hera, Hippo did Swamp, and then to your point, the next chance for divergence was either with the Titan's Mitts, either go do the Smith Chain or Hookshot Cave, and Hippo did Hookshot Cave and then went right into Turtle Rock, and that's where the Ice Rod and the Flute essentially were.
Yep.
But again, this is you know, best of 3, so you're still alive in this, and you'll have you guys. I think you guys are racing again tomorrow, correct?
Yep, same time tomorrow.
All right. Well, we will certainly be looking forward to it. Any final thoughts heading into race number 2 tomorrow?
Not really.
All right. Well, GG's to both. Well, GG's to both you, Hyphenated, and Hippo. You guys put on quite the race for us today. For such a linear seed. Major props to you guys for toughing it out.
Thanks.
Thanks for restreaming us. Thanks for commentating. Thanks to the trackers. Thanks everybody for putting this on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely shout outs to Vash1978 for tracking for us and Tiru for the restream.
Jay Meisher, thank you very much for doing the heavy lifting on commentary, having internet problems here. I was not able to do as much as I normally do, so I give you all the props for quite the commentary tonight.
Oh, no problem. It was hard to tell for most of it, but let me pull up the schedule here because we want to let you know what we've got going on with the rest of the bracket stages tonight.
Jex, I like your robot voice. It sounds amazing.
Well, yeah, unfortunately I'm not in where I normally commentate, so I'm not it's just really bad right now, unfortunately.
Well, looking at the schedule, the only one I can see is one that is currently we're probably close to being completed on Speed Gaming 5, Zelda Dasan and DKS 89, but we got a whole bunch of matches tomorrow. So definitely look forward to that. Give the Speed Gaming channels and the link to the past Randomizer channels a follow if you want to keep up to date on what we've got going on, and we'll know when these races go live.
Yeah, and I think that's going to do it for us here. Thank you again to both of our runners, and everyone have a great evening.
Take care, and we'll see you at the next race.